Welcome to People Doing Good for Others. Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we praise and honor and celebrate those who are truly making significant differences in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful to be with you today. I want to thank Wilkes Communications and RiverStreet Network and WIFM for this opportunity. And again, thank you so much for being with us. Our featured guest today is Ms. Jamie Williams. She's at CBL School. She's a kindergarten teacher. I had the opportunity to spend some time with her last week, and her room is just filled with interesting things. Every wall is covered with nice things to help children learn, and we're grateful that you're with us. Ms. Williams is a graduate of Wilkes Central High School, UNCG. She has a master's in reading from App State. She's had a wonderful career in the Girl Scouts, and again, she's been at CBL for 11 years. And good morning to you, my friend. What an honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You're such an energetic person who's so involved in your career. So tell us about the calling to be a teacher.
Well, I mean, ever since I can remember, I always wanted to be a teacher. So my brother and sister probably remember that best, because my favorite thing to play every Saturday was school. So we'd get out of school and I'd want to play school. I remember in first grade, our teachers asked us, what would you like to be when you grow up? And my response, of course, was a tap dance teacher at that time. So I guess I got half my dream from that. And things change over the years, but that's something that just still stayed with me and that I felt called to do.
And your career, you've also been in the first and second grade for a brief time too. Yes,
I began my teaching career at CBL in first grade. So I student taught in kindergarten, and I was so excited to get to be in kindergarten. I guess I just remember a lot of great things from my kindergarten experience. And I think that's a place where you really can start their students, a lot of them on their educational journey, who may have never been to pre-K or a daycare. This is their first experience with school. Yeah. But when I found the job for first grade, I thought, this is perfect. My kids that, I just left with kindergarten, this will be about where they would be. So I'm starting off with kids that were like the ones that I student taught with.
Right.
And so I spent 2 years in first grade. And when I was there, I realized there were so many things that I still needed to learn as a teacher and get better at, because I wanted my kids to be the best they could be, and I knew the only way to do that was to make myself better.
You brought up an interesting point there. Tell us a little bit about college training and practice teaching, and some of those, we learn a lot, but we never know enough.
Yes,
but just tell us about being at UNCG as training to be a teacher.
Well, I looked at UNCG and I knew that they were well known for their education department. And one thing that they did was they put you in the classroom as soon as your sophomore year, having an experience in there. And you start doing an internship your sophomore year. And you decide that's where a lot of people decide, maybe this isn't for me, or, oh, I love this, or this is something that I'm finding I'm really enjoying. So there was lots of time to go and visit other classrooms and get to observe. And that's where I felt that I learned the most from wonderful, experienced teachers.
I want to back up too to Wilkes Central, just to touch on that briefly, if you will.
Well, I spent 4 years at Wilkes Central, and I enjoyed my high school years immensely. And people say, oh, the best years are in high school. Well, college is pretty great too. But I had some wonderful educators at Wilkes Central High School.
Yeah.
And, many of them helped instill things that I still remember today, such as, my love of reading. I remember my 10th grade teacher sharing a story, and it just touched me, and I wanted to read and learn more about different kinds of books in that genre. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Your choice of going to UNCG, and that was because of the program and teaching?
Yes, partially. I also had visited there. They have a art museum on campus, and they were having a Warhol exhibit when I was in high school. I don't remember if I was a freshman or sophomore, but I went with my Girl Scout troop, and we visited, and it had a beautiful campus. They have this, it's all together in one area, so it's not stretched out all over Greensboro. There's one, there's an entrance for the college, and you kind of have these brick pavers as you're leaving. So it was just a really close-knit, kind of what I thought college was supposed to be.
So in your visit there, you just said, this is the place for me.
Well, I sort of put it on my list, this could work.
Jamie Williams, you're certainly a person of great interest in your career, and I know how much you enjoy. Tell us about driving from the western part of the county to the east to CBLer and the things that go on in the mind of a kindergarten teacher getting ready for that when your children get there.
Yeah, I drive about 30 minutes a day, which people can't believe, but our county is so large and vast, that takes about that long. Right. And I have always been from, the central area, and so when I found out about CBLer, I didn't really know a lot about it or where it was, but that time is so vital for me. It's kind of like my self-reflection time. I can get prepared, I have my coffee, I listen to some radio, and it just kind of gets me thinking okay, what are we going to work on today? What can we change? What can I do better? What can we, what do we need to work on to kind of get our day started right?
Yeah.
And if there's anything that I might want to change from the previous day, let's go in with that.
Let's revisit Girl Scouts.
Okay.
And you were the two highest awards you're there. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was a Girl Scout from the time I was in Daisies up until I graduated high school. And, worked on the Silver and Gold Award. And one thing I did with my Gold Award was my friend and I were in Scouts together, and we were both working on it. And we helped implement a music and arts after school program through a tutoring outreach here in Wilkesboro.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
it was great.
You were there from like a real youngster to graduating from high school.
It's something that I just stuck with all those years. It was a great hobby of mine, and I learned and made some really good friends in it.
Okay.
Had some good experiences.
Great. 11 years as a teacher, CBLer, let's visit that again. Were all the years you've been at CBLer every year?
I have. I haven't wanted to leave.
Okay.
But I started there, and I just, you get to know the people, you get to know the community, and you kind of find a place and a home.
Yeah.
So, and I enjoy it there, and I really don't mind that drive. It's my time to think.
Sure. Okay. Principal's role. Mm-hmm. Let's visit that, if you will.
Yeah, I think the principal it starts with the heart and soul of that school. They're the person that people see. They're the face. They're the ones that kind of set the tone for what our school mission statement is and what we want for our kids. And they're also the one that can go out there and help us get resources or, bring people in and show them all the great things that are happening. I also feel like they're our model as teachers. We want to be our kids' model. Right. We want them to be ours. Yeah. So I think it's a vital role.
I think that the CBLer lobby, welcoming and the statement about this is, this is a good place to be. I think it's so inviting there as you walk in the front door.
That's what we want. We want our kids to feel safe, feel like it's a place where they can grow and learn and just be themselves.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the first day of you want to have 17, 18 kids.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Just walk through that first day and some of the things that you do.
Well, the first day, it's never the same every year. It's always different. You have so many emotions coming in the building, and the teachers, we're so excited. We've set up our room. We're excited to share it with our kids. We've got, brand new pencils and crayons out, and just, we're ready to take them on and get started. And sometimes the kids are that same way. They're ready just to come on in, and I'm like, hi, we don't even know each other yet, And then the parents, some of them are excited, some of them are a little nervous, some of them are more fearful than their kids.
Okay.
So you just never know with that first day.
And how many kindergarten classes do we have at CBLer?
This year we have 3 kindergarten classes.
Okay. And you had 17 students, is it?
I have 18. Well, I went down to 17, but we normally have around 18 to 20 in our classes.
Okay. And start the day for us. Tell us what we do if 4 or 5-year-olds come in. What would we do to start the day? Kind of a habit, something you do.
Well, we have what we call our routines in our classroom. So our students come in the morning, they get their breakfast in the cafeteria, and they come on in the room. They put their breakfast down, they get to make their lunch choice. So we have a little board where they go and pick their name and choose what they're gonna have for lunch that day. They unpack their own book bags. You know, at the beginning of the year, of course, we help them, but they're very independent. You know, once we show them how to do things, it's amazing. They just kind of take off. And they want to. It gives them some power and it gives them, you know, choice in what they're doing. They unpack their book bag, they take their name off our Chicka Chicka tree, which is a story that we read where there's letters on a tree, and what we do is we put names with the kids' name and their big letter, that's the first letter of their name, on our tree, and they take it off our attendance tree to show they're here. Put their red folder in our basket, and then they go get started with breakfast, and then normally there's some kind of activity that they can do until we have morning meeting time.
We mentioned there are 2 other classes. Do you spend time each day with the other 2 teachers about, do you kind of team up learning, or how does that work?
We have a designated planning time every day, which is amazing. So it's common, so we all get to meet together and plan out lessons and activities that we think we'd like the children to
So the
be
3 of
engaged
you
in.
are together every day?
Yes, which is awesome.
Wow.
Because, I mean, you know, 2 minds are better than 1. 3 minds are even better than 2.
So
it's
you
great
say,
to
well,
have
I'm
that.
kind of challenged with this. Does anybody have an idea about what would you do? Is that the way you do that?
Exactly. You know, if someone's struggling with something, we're going to share our ideas. And if we find something that isn't working, we'll go out there and find someone else's idea that would work great. We also have designated times where we meet with our instructional specialist and our principal during the week and get to discuss, you know, our students and struggles with maybe academics or behavior that we want them to be aware of, and maybe ways that we can help them grow and they can help us grow.
Okay. When I visited your class, I was amazed at how many different themes are on the walls, and also the opportunities. 3 or 4 of the young boys came up and wanted to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Some did, some didn't. Is that just human nature that some will be very curious and some not at all?
You know, I think it is. I mean, just like adults, kids are the same. They're just smaller. And they all have their unique personality that they bring to the table. And, you know, each one has something special that makes them them.
You said that you want to be the person that the student will want to grow up to be. Tell me about that.
Well, I feel like I hopefully can be a model and kind of show them what I hope that they could be one day. You know, that they have every opportunity. They can do anything. If they meet a challenge and they face it head on and don't, you know, choose a different path, they continue to grow in that way. And hopefully, you know, if they see us maybe struggling but overcoming, they can do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I want them to feel in our classroom safe. I want them to feel secure. I want them to feel, you know, confident to share and explore and learn. And I just hope that they can carry a little bit of that with them as they grow.
Jamie Williams, what are the things that we want to accomplish in the kindergarten year as a teacher and as a learner?
Yeah.
Give us, can you share that? Give us some ideas of this will happen during that. Can you do that?
Well, I mean, of course, we have our curriculum that we want our students to, you know, meet expectations or rise above those. But every child enters kindergarten in a different place. So, you know, maybe what one I want to get that year is different than the other. You know, and that's how we differentiate with our students. You know, one might be needing more academic focus. One might be needing more of a social or behavioral, you know, issue. You know, it just depends. You know, what their need is where we want to take them and grow.
What time do you go to lunch?
11 o'clock every day.
Is it every child? Can children, 4th grade, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, they tell time?
You know, I don't. At the beginning of the year, I get it. When are we eating lunch? When are we eating lunch every day? And as the year goes on, we kind of talk about, you know, we have our schedule set, and so they know, like, after we do math, we go to lunch. And, you know, I start the year saying, okay, it's always at 11 o'clock. And, you know, I might use my hands because kids don't understand exactly time at the beginning. So I might say, okay, this much more time, this much more time.
Oh, oh my goodness.
That works for field trips as well. So when we're on the bus, how much longer? So,
How often do we do field trips?
we have about 3 to 5 a year.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Give us some idea of where we might go.
Well, we always go twice to the John A. Walker Center to see a play or some kind of musical adventure. So that's always fun for
sure,
them.
twice.
Yes, normally.
Oh.
We're going next week to see one called My Alien, and it kind of looks like our little dojo man, this little mascot that we have in our classroom. So I'm thinking they're really going to enjoy that one. We like to take our kids to the Children's Museum, which is called Caladium in Winston-Salem. And it's a wonderful experience because it's a museum where the kids can touch and explore. So they have a ball.
Right.
And it's a safe
Do you
and
have
secure
parents
place.
that come in often to just spend time with the child, or does that happen much?
Yeah, we do have some that want to come in and kind of say, oh, I'm off this day. Can I come in and help? You know, we always ask them, you know, what would you feel comfortable doing? Because some, you know, are good with, oh, I can do it all. And some would, you know, I'd like just to maybe, you know, work at the back table or, you know, cut some stuff out for you. I mean, so they're very helpful and willing.
Do we have exercise each and every day, like go outside or?
My kids have PE at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
So we have PE every day, and we take a recess as a grade level so all our students can socialize and be outside together.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a great time.
Is the schedule as to content, is it same every day? You had to do something at 8:15, and does it
We
follow?
try to keep it that way. It really
Okay.
helps the kids that they need that routine and that schedule stay on
Routine.
track.
Okay.
That's really key for our young learners. And that way they know what's coming up. So they don't have to ask. They are like, oh, I know this comes after this. We're going to do this and then we'll do this. And I mean, just them figuring that out and like sharing with other students, I think is amazing.
Yeah. We talked about a conflict corner. Let's go there for me.
We have a conflict resolution corner is the proper name we call it in our classroom, but my kids call it our conflict corner or our calm down space.
Calm down
Yes.
space.
So sometimes, you know, they might have a conflict with a friend, and we teach them how to use that area at the beginning of the year. And they might be playing in centers, and maybe one wants something and the other one has. And if they can't work it out, we give them strategies for how they could handle that. And at the beginning of the year, after we go over it, and we teach it many times throughout, it's not something we just teach once and go forget about, but they'll go over there all the time. And I'll see them over there with 2 people, you know, just having their little conflict out, and I'll kind of, you know, keep an eye. And most of the time, they leave smiling. So
Oh my goodness.
and
So
they're-
they volunteer to go do that. When,
sometimes you'll see they can be very vocal. We need to go to the conflict corner. So, but it's
my
wonderful
goodness.
because they're handling it themselves, you know. And sometimes we do step in if we're needed, but that's our goal. We want them to be able to, you know, become worldwide global citizens that can work out their problems and use some critical thinking skills, and that helps them begin that process. You know, I have some that just go over there to have, there's a little breathing strip where they can pull off if they're angry about something. Maybe they don't know what it is. Maybe they come in the morning and say, I need to go there. You go ahead, you know. It's amazing that they can self-regulate themselves that way. And I mean, that's an extra tool for them also to use in their toolbox, for them to help be able to do that on their own and with other people.
wow. Children that have brothers and sisters or a child who's an only child, can you tell the difference? How they socialize?
I mean, most children are exposed to others at an early age, so they
okay,
pretty know well to
okay.
play. Sometimes you kind of think about that in the back of your mind, like, well, maybe it's because of this. So, I mean, you're trying to always, like, problem solve with your students.
Okay. We start the day sitting in the floor on that rug with squares.
Yes, we all have our space.
All right, tell us about that.
Well, that's where we have our morning meeting. So, you know, after we come in there and do our routines, we have a few minutes at our tables to work and talk with friends, and then we come to the carpet, and that's like where we start our day together.
Come to the carpet. Okay. And that's, what do we do there?
Well, that's where a lot of our learning in kindergarten takes place. So, you know, we do our calendar. We have like a special morning message I've written for them, and most of the time they help me. They help me. Maybe I've made some mistakes, so they're great at coming up and fixing those. But, you know, it's just the place we start our day. We can go over our Trojan lead expectations and any exciting news anyone wants to share. So it's kind of a great.
So you have an open, like a forum to start, that if any youngster would like to say, let me tell you what I did yesterday, or my grandpa, or.
And then, if I notice it's a day where I've got lots of people wanting to share, I might say, you know what, I think that we all want to talk to our friends for a little bit. So let's have our talk time. So that's another routine we have in our class. But I might say,
talk time.
Let's have some talk time, so that way they can kind of get all their excitement or, something that happened the night before out.
Oh my goodness.
With their friends.
Yeah. The room, it's just a nonstop decoration, I'll call it. Just walk through there a little bit and say, well, we have this, we have that, and they really like to do this.
Yes.
You change it often. Just tell us about your room.
Well, when we're putting together the classroom at the beginning of the year, I try and think of what the students will be doing around the room and how they'll be utilizing that space. And so the things I put on bulletin boards, I always have a place where we can take their picture for their birthday. We have our center chart, and that is pretty much their golden favorite thing in our room.
Center chart?
Centers, where we go to centers around the room. And they get to, their pictures up there, and they have different choices each day to kind of put them wherever they'd like to explore.
Really?
Yeah.
My goodness.
We have a mailbox place where all my students, as they finish their work or they complete something in centers that they've made, they put in their mailbox, and it's got their picture and their name on it, and it's just
we brought some pictures. Was that?
Yep, we do have that one.
Show. Let's pull out one there, and maybe you'll give us an
So here's our mailboxes.
Okay.
With the Capri Suns on top. No, but
there you
so
go.
they stick them in there. It's just a shoe organizer, but it's so great, and it's the place that they know all their work goes. And so each week we'll clean out their mailboxes for them and send their work home. But it helps them kind of be responsible.
Do they have homework?
Well, we encourage our students to read each night. We give them small books to take home that are at their level. And we also are working on sight words, letters, and sounds, and number flashcards and things.
Okay. Talk about math during the year. Some of the methods of teaching math?
Well, one thing we work on a lot at the beginning is counting and number recognition. And so we try and reach all our learners. And when you come to kindergarten, you may not know how a child learns best. So we try and give out many different ways to learn and many different strategies, just like we do with the behavior, giving them strategies. So I like to do a lot of, visual, a lot of saying it and seeing it, a lot of them making it. So that's a big thing in kindergarten, getting out materials. So we might have a question like, there were 5 snowmen and 5 more came. How many snowmen? Well, I might have the kids come up and use their bodies as the snowmen, and they love that. Getting to act out and retell. And then, they might go back and they might use cotton balls as their snowman and kind of show me that way. I might have some that want to go and draw it out. So, they get to choose after we explore all our choices, and they use what works best for them, which is great.
We hear the saying, show and tell. Is that still part of it, or is that part of something you use in kindergarten?
Well, when I started kindergarten, we used to do a show and tell, where every child had a different week they could come in and tell. And, as time kind of goes on, we started doing something different where they can, earn that during the week as one of their goals. So maybe if they want to buy that at the ticket store to come and show and tell us something or bring something in special, we can arrange it that way. But if they have something they want to share, normally that's great at our morning meeting. They get that taken care of.
The first thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Like if they were, nice thing Grandpa did, or.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. As we started the other day, 3 or 4 of those kids were just nonstop asking me questions. Who are you and why are you here? That individuality, you have every youngster one-on-one. You're doing them. You have 17, you have a class, but you have 17 one-on-ones going on at any point in time?
Yeah.
Is that the way it is?
Pretty much. But what's great is, when we come together and we learn that we're a family and we work best when we're working together.
Wow. So that's one of the first concepts I suppose you talk about as being a family. We're together here.
Yeah, I mean, we're together a lot during the week, more than they're with their own family at home. So this is our class family, and we do these things with our class family. It's kind of more of we do this together, not we don't, but we do this. So and they're great at sharing when we're saying what are some things we can do together, and they bring up such positive, wonderful things when we come together and talk about that.
Really?
Yeah.
How about the natural leaders? Do you have a person that a nurturing person, or how does that work?
I mean, it's our little community. We have them all. We have our nurturers and our little mommies. We have ours that want to naturally lead and share their idea and say, let's try it this way. We have ours that kind of naturally want to follow. And that's the great thing about a classroom. You have all different personalities coming together.
Yeah. What's a star reader?
Oh, well, in our classroom, a star reader they're getting so excited when they're learning how to read. And one thing that we do just to kind of hopefully encourage them more is they get to pick a book of their choice that they have from, that they can read all by themselves. And it's one that they've chosen, and we might have helped them on it too. So, I mean, when we're helping them, that's them building their skills. And then if they feel like they can read the whole thing from beginning to end, they get to share it with their class. And they get a special sticker and,
if you're a star reader.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we call it.
Okay. You have an assistant.
I do.
Let's talk about the role that person plays.
The teacher assistant is vital in the classroom.
Yes.
They meet with small groups when I meet with small groups. They're able to pull kids one-on-one and work with them. When I might be teaching a whole group lesson, if a student needs extra support or they need enrichment in an area. So they're just wonderful to have. We're very thankful for them.
Jamie Williams, you have a master's degree in reading.
Yes.
Share that with us.
Well, I mean, when I first started teaching, I realized that was an area that I wanted to grow in. And I wanted to be able to push my students and choose what I didn't really know was developmentally appropriate in reading. Like I wanted to know where to actually start. Because you get this information undergrad, but when you know more, you do more. So
when you know more, you do more.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I went back and got my master's in reading to hopefully improve that. And I feel much more confident in the reading teacher I am today.
Okay. We talked about focusing on the whole child, and you said there were social conflict feelings, being positive, academic, exercise. Go through that just a little bit, if you will.
Well, I mean, that's what we see it as, not just focusing on one part of the child, but the whole child to make them a better person and to help them grow more. Making sure they feel safe, making sure that their physical needs are met, their social and emotional needs are met, making sure that they're able to grow academically. So just giving them that support and a foundation, I think, is really key for them.
The PBIS concept, can you do that for me?
PBIS is a school approach to strong academic achievement and social growth for the whole school. So we have, at PBIS schools, we have expectations that are taught and set for the students, and we teach them, from kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. So that we come in and we show them and we model explicitly what it looks like in different parts of our school.
Yeah.
So at CBLR, we follow the Trojan lead. So we learn daily, we exceed expectations, we act responsibly, and we demonstrate respect. And we show the students what that means.
You do that every day?
Oh, yes, we go over it every day.
Wow.
And they're amazing. At the beginning, you wouldn't think that a kindergartner could say exceed expectations, but we work on it and they know what it looks like. And I mean, by the time they get to 5th grade, they're like masters, because they've had it every year instilled.
Grant writing. I heard kind of through the grapevine that's one of your real skills, and you bring monies into your school by writing grants. And just share that just a little bit for me, if you will.
Well, I started writing grants because when I started out teaching, I didn't really have a lot of resources for my students. And when you start teaching things, you realize I need some more resources for them, or I'd love them to be able to do this, but I don't have it. So grants are out there, and my first principal actually turned me on to that and showed me what all that could happen. And so now it's, if I see a need, I think, ooh, let's write a grant for it.
Right. Okay. Youngsters really love recognition. Just a little bit of how that works with you.
Well, they love, that recognition, that positivity, and, reaffirming the thing that they feel like they're doing well. If we reaffirm that and we give them that positive feedback, that helps them strengthen themselves as a confident learner.
I want to thank you for being here today, and also Wilkes Communications and RiverStreet for this opportunity that I'm growing as a person too, and having a kindergarten person. I'm just so involved in what you've been doing today. So thank you for being here, and close for me, if you will.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity and allowing me to share this. And I'm so glad that, this is something that our community has to share wonderful good news and some of the things that are happening in the classrooms of Wilkes County.
Jamie Williams, I have an appreciation for kindergarten that I didn't have, and I want to thank you for that.
Join us anytime. Thank
Come
you.
back again. Bye-bye.
Bye.